Hello, Potato, and welcome to Weekend Magic for April the 29th, 2023. Another month just about over. No big releases this past week that I can think of. But next week, of course, is the beginning week of May, which means May the 4th be with you. Star Wars Day is coming up, and I don't know what shop Disney is planning on doing, if much of anything. They already released like their shirts and hats and stuff like a month or so ago. I'm sure there'll be a pin. There's usually a pin or two that the nice one will be impossible to get, and the less nice one will be up there for weeks. But I do know that Monday, Lego will be releasing their Star Wars Day stuff. They'll be starting the Star Wars Day stuff, I think the 1st through the 7th. Some really nice looking giveaways or gift with purchases that are going to be coming out, plus the Disney 100 minifigure blind bag set comes out on that same day. So first week of May may be very expensive, and next week we'll probably talk about the results of some of that. But this week is all my wife's stuff. No pins, no plush, no action figures. It is as if we took a trip to one of my wife's favorite spots in downtown Disney, the Disney Home Store, but without ever actually having to leave our home. I mean, of course, we did leave our home. We went to work and stuff, but we didn't actually make a trip down to Anaheim to buy any of today's home goodies. But I do feel fairly confident that if I could go to the Disney Home Store there in downtown Disney today, I would find most, if not all, of this stuff on the shelves there. And the other interesting thing about today's stuff is I think for the most part, none of it is likely to be used for its intended purpose. So we'll start off with, I think, the smallest thing, and that is going to be these. A set of Mickey Mouse measuring spoons. Now, I think these do look a little bit flimsy. They are actually, I think, a little tougher than they may look on camera. They're not going to bend if I look at them too hard, which is always a concern with some things. But that said, I mean, I don't expect these are going to be put into use. These are like a decorative item. They'll probably end up hung somewhere very much like that for a couple reasons. One, we have like 8 sets of measuring spoons between like Taste of Home and what we already had. We have a fair number of measuring spoons. But the other is, honestly, I don't feel like Mickey's ears are super conducive to actually properly measuring things. I just feel like those are going to be in your way. But I mean, that could just be me. I mean, like I said, I don't think these were purchased with the intent of like them replacing our everyday measuring spoons. Also, I don't feel like there's as many of them. I feel like our normal go-to set has like at least 5 or 6 different measures, and this only has 4. We have, what do we have here? We have, it's like quarter teaspoon, or is that half teaspoon? I can't really read that. Well, let's try some more light. That might help. There we go. Quarter teaspoon. Yeah, that helps a lot. Should have turned that on before I started recording. We have a half teaspoon or 2.5 milliliters if you are anywhere but the US and use those kind of measurements. Then we have, I'm guessing, a teaspoon. Yep, 1 teaspoon and 1 tablespoon. I feel like we have like a quarter, like a half tablespoon and like an 1/8 teaspoon in our normal like go-to set. But they're still quite nice. And again, they are. So what does it say? I think the thing says not to put them in the dishwasher. Yeah, that's the no dishwasher symbol, which makes sense. You shouldn't. I mean, do you put your measuring spoons in the dishwasher? I just wash them in the sink. But I guess if you're doing a whole load after making a batch of something, maybe you would. But yeah, they're nice. I think, pretty sure they're going to be decorative, much like the set of measuring spoons we have that have measurements like a dash and a pinch are just kind of on display. I think these probably will end up that way as well. Next, we have a pair of Petunia pickle bottom items. It's a name I've heard. It's not a brand I'm particularly familiar with or a line I'm familiar with. And I mean, I don't feel like these are anything that's evocative of any particular art style, but they are from the Disney Baby line, Mickey Mouse and also Mickey Mouse stroller hooks. Now, I believe my wife got these with the intent of using them for like carrying large quantities of bags like in from the car. Instead of maybe like looping them over your forearm, which is my go-to move, you could put them all on here. It looks like they are meant to be to like hang against this hook here, which does feel pretty sturdy. And I guess you can hold it like that and carry a bunch of groceries or a bunch of bags at one time. I mean, it looks like it's intended to fit like your diaper bag or your bottle cooler or whatever. But it does say perfect for strollers and shopping carts. So, I mean, you could maybe hang, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but maybe hang your purse off a shopping cart. I feel like putting your purse anywhere than like over your shoulder is probably not the best idea. But they have actually a much firmer metal piece here than I would have actually thought. It looks like plastic, but it does feel like metal. Yeah, that's definitely metal. And then we have some sort of a probably scratch resistant rubbery coating over the rest of it, so it doesn't like tear into your stroller handle or indeed maybe your fingers. And she picked them up in black and pink, and of course they don't have price tags on them because there are no Disney stores to speak of anymore. You don't really need price tags. But they're nice. Again, we're not going to use them for strollers, but for carrying all the groceries in at one time in one trip could be quite useful. Put you over there. Next, now we move into ceramics. We move into heavy duty bits of ceramic. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they're made out of clay, but they could be. I don't know. But we'll start off with the faux plant. Why is it a faux plant? Also, I always thought faux was French. Why is the French of faux not spelled like faux? I always thought faux was French. You learn something new every day. I wonder what language actually is then. So, but why does this say faux plant? You could put a real plant in this. It's got a water tray. It's got a drain hole in the bottom. It's got a rubber stopper in it. But I mean, there is a drain hole there. Why does it say faux plant? So I really don't have any familiarity with what the Shop Disney listings of any of today's items are. I haven't gone to look at them. Like I said, none of these are things that are my things. And that's fine. Not every week needs to be focused on things that I picked out. We can share the limelight a bit, at least until she gets around to starting her own channel. So this is a nice decoration. We have little. I feel like the orientation of them is arrows, but I also feel like they're probably supposed to be pine trees. And then of course little Mickeys, kind of a neat swoop. Ooh, I don't like the feel of that. I don't know if you can hear the sound of my finger rubbing against it. Very rough down here, kind of like a clay pot, but much smoother up here. This has been had a glaze applied to it in a way that I think is intended to look artisan-y. It's not super even at the border here, and I feel like that's intentional. I feel like they want to make it feel more like something that is made individually instead of mass-produced, and I'm guessing China? Thailand. Not the same thing, but we'll call it close enough for government work for the purposes of this video. It did come nicely wrapped in this ribbon. A lot of these dishes and stuff do tend to come that way, and I'm going to leave it wrapped that way because, again, it's not mine, and if I was going to wrap it, it should be her. But also wrapped up in the neat little ribbon is our next item, this bowl set. This bottom piece here, I believe, is actually supposed to be a lid that you can take up and put on the top to seal it. I think it has a rubber. Can we see it without taking the whole thing apart? I think there's a rubber seal, a rubber gasket in there. Maybe not. maybe that's just a tray. So, I mean, a lid would be nice, but when you consider what this is actually, it doesn't say on here what it is, which is interesting. But this is actually meant to be a pet food bowl. Now, we are probably not going to put pet food in it. The cat has his own little automatic feeder and his own special little blue bowl that's just his for his wet food or treat foods. So I don't think it's going to be used that way. I don't know what we. I mean, you could put some more faux plants in it. I suppose you could maybe put like some succulents in there. That would look kind of nice. Some sandy rocky soil and a few succulents. That would look nice here with the gray. But interestingly, so I mean, this is meant to be a pot, but it's got the same pattern on it. Unless I'm mistaken, I could swear she told me this was meant to be a pet bowl, but maybe not, because it does have the exact same pattern, although in the orientation I would have expected with the little trees pointing up, as our faux plant pot here. So maybe I misremembered what she said it was for. Maybe it is meant to be a planter, and that's just meant to maybe keep moisture from seeping through to the tabletop. So if it's meant to be a planter, that potentially could end up being what it's used for. But if it's meant to be a pet dish, I don't think it will get any use that way. And now just one more item. We just have a few things this week, because I want to keep it a little brief, because it's actually quite warm in the void space, because this is California. And in the course of the last week, we've gone from like 50s to 70s to the 90s, and it's actually quite warm in here. And all I will say in regards to that is I don't recommend Rheem brand HVAC systems. But our last item today is something that is definitely on the Shop Disney site as a pet food item, and that is this here. Now, this I am sure is for pet food. It's like a pet treats canister, is I believe how it's described on the Shop Disney site. But you wouldn't know from looking at it. It's just a canister. There's no like paw prints or bones or mice, or I guess there is a mouse, isn't there? There's quite a few mice, but not mice in the sense of like your cat would go chasing after necessarily. It's just Mickey's. It's Mickey's all the way down. So there's really no reason this needs to be for pet food, which is good, because it's almost certainly not going to ever have pet food in it. You could use it like as a cookie jar or something, because it has quite an effective seal on it. When we first took it out of the box the other night, I guess it must have been even warmer where it was packed, because it had formed quite the little vacuum, in that it took like multiple minutes of effort to get this lid to come off. It should be okay now. It should be like, yeah, it's still pretty equalized temperature now. But it has a nice like silicone gasket on it. Also, a nice Mickey. And there's nothing in this that really speaks pet treats to me. I don't know why they marketed it that way instead of marketing it as perhaps a small cookie jar. But I mean, that's what Disney has chosen to. I also don't understand why this says faux plant when it clearly looks like it could hold a real plant. And of course, the tags are almost never of any real use. But this is, of the three items, I think this is the thickest. It's like a nice, thick, pottery ceramic thing made in Thailand. Again, no real information about it on here. I mean, there might be some in the little booklet, but I can't imagine it's going to be anything more helpful than that stuff. It'll just be a bunch of copyrights in various languages. Like there, copyright Disney. Yeah, don't know what it'll be used for, but I'm pretty sure pet treats aren't the thing. But that is all we have for this week. Our little trip to Disney Home Store without leaving home has yielded some lovely Disney items. Next week, like I said, I expect will be a video about Star Wars Day stuff. Probably almost entirely Lego store, because even if I do order anything from Shop Disney, it certainly won't be here by Saturday morning. But I do hope to have some Lego Star Wars stuff and maybe a couple other items to talk about on next Saturday's episode. But that does wrap this one up. If you've read the website, because I haven't, and this is actually for plants and not pet food, and I'm just totally misremembering what my wife told me, let me know in the comments. And also let me know what piece you think is the best of today's items. I think I do like the pet treat canister. I feel like it's the thing that's just the most useful aside from its initial, intended purpose. But these are probably a pretty close second. But do you agree? Do you disagree? What would you use these for if not to their intended purposes? Let me know in the comments. And with that, I will thank you for watching this. I hope you found it at all interesting or entertaining. If you did, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next video.